Anh em bây giờ không phải sao rồi nên hòa hòa
What is bien? What SBA? The Asian SBA?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fifth staging of the Scientific Research Council's Conversation in Science series. It is a pleasure. Happy International Women's Day, and well, not Women's Day, International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And I'm your host for this afternoon, Tamar McHale. Some of you may know me. If not, I'm a television and radio presenter, and we were happy this week to have the SRC join us on the Ron Michelle Morning Show, which I'm also a part of. So this afternoon promises to be very educational and insightful. We will be learning and having some insightful discussion from some trailblazing women who are impacting science, not only in Jamaica, but across the globe. And not only the women and girls are invited to this conversation, the men and boys also are. So if you are on, get other persons to join in and just tell them to join the Zoom or join the YouTube, the SRC social media pages. So welcome again. And as I mentioned, today's event is being held under the theme, the legacy of women in STEM, fueling next gen girls. And today, of course, is the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. So at this time, without further ado, I'm going to make welcome Executive Director of the Scientific Research Council, Dr. Shara Watson, to give the welcome. And she's a respected scientist and innovator here in Jamaica. She has established herself and demonstrated command in the field of organic chemistry, natural product chemistry, natural products, product development, and so much more. So she's making an impact here in science. I mean, she's the executive director of the SRC. So let's make her welcome at this time.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Tamara. How are we doing today? I'm hoping we're all great and happy to be women.
Yes.
For those of us that are women on the line. Masters of Ceremony, Tamara, Honorable Minister Flavel Williams, Minister for Education and Youth, Honorable Daryl Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are there at the SRC, and those of you that are joining from all over the world through a various social media platform, good afternoon. And of course, welcome to the fifth staging of the SRC's cutting edge and engaging program, Conversations in Science. It is indeed my pleasure and privilege to bring welcome to you this afternoon in my capacity as the Executive Director here at the SRC, Jamaica's principal public agency in the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, with the responsibility for fostering and coordinating scientific research and the promotion and application of the results from those research. Today, we are here on this International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And we are here to have a conversation around the legacy of women in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM for short. And specifically, we want to inspire the next generation of girls that will be leading STEM. Globally, we know that women and girls are marginalized and some are even prohibited from engaging in the formal education system or even participating in science. Therefore, we know we have a lot of work to do. The scenario in Jamaica is a little bit different. We do have a high level of women and girls that are actively engaged in STEM and that are exploring STEM careers. But there is a lot more work to be done as it relates to inspiring and engaging women all over the world. I know that we have a role to play here at the SRC. We do have a tremendous responsibility in helping to encourage and have that gender equality when it comes to empowering and inspiring girls and youth in general, because we're not leaving out our men or our boys any at all, right? So today's event is one such event in which we are bridging the gap and we're having the necessary conversation that will lead to the positive change that we want to see. So today we have a great lineup of presenters, and I do implore you to stay on with us and enjoy the program. And again, from the SRC, welcome. I do have a great rest of evening. Tamara, back to you. Your mic is muted, Tamara.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shara Watson. And of course, she is the Executive Director of the Scientific Research Council. And of course, they are the ones organizing this afternoon's Conversation in Science series, looking at the theme this afternoon, of course, focusing on women and girls in science and the theme of the legacy of women in STEM, fueling next gen girls. So you rightly welcomed Honorable Daryl Vaz, who is, of course, our Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology. And we'll also have joining us this afternoon our Minister of Education, Honorable Favour Williams. But at this time, we're going to invite our Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, Honorable Daryl Vaz, who was sworn into this portfolio in September 13, 2020. He has served Jamaica in several capacities. He's a former minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for information and telecommunications and so much more. But once you mention the technology part, you know, that's right up the alley in terms of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So we're going to have him bring the opening remarks. So let's give him a great virtual welcome. Round of applause. Minister Vaz. With responsibility for information and telecommunications and so much more. But once you mention the technology part, you know, that's right up the alley in terms of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So we're going to have him bring the opening remarks. So let's give him a great virtual welcome. Round of applause. Minister Vaz.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me extend heartfelt Happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science to all our female scientists and science enthusiasts, both at home and abroad. It is with great delight that I join the Scientific Research Council on this day's commemoration through its Conversation in Science series, dedicated to honoring the legacy of women in STEM, fueling next-gen girls. This day holds great significance on both the local and international stage, as it provides yet another opportunity to promote full and equal access, as well as participation in science by our women and girls. As we speak, and across the globe, women and girls in science are being celebrated in a similar fashion, not as sole beneficiaries, but as significant contributors to the discipline of science. As Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, I'm proud to celebrate alongside these trailblazing female scientists, their achievements and contributions, as well as the role they play in inspiring our girls to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematical fields. Ladies and gentlemen, history is filled with women such as Katherine Johnson, Marie Curie, and our very own Dr. Cicely Williams, whose work in space exploration, physics, and maternal nutrition, respectively, have transformed the quality of life that we enjoy today. Despite the significant achievements of women in science, females are still widely underrepresented across the STEM fields. According to United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, only 17 women have won a Nobel Prize in Physics or Chemistry since Marie Curie in 1903, and approximately 30% of all the world's researchers are women. The time has come for us to change this reality and build a robust legacy of women in STEM to fuel the next generation of girls. With the challenges of climate change, food security, poverty, and diseases such as COVID-19, ensuring that women and girls have equal access and opportunities in STEM is critical to ensuring a brighter future. As we progress towards the landmark year of 2030, gender equality, diversity, and equity will be critical to achieving our sustainable development goals and creating a world where discrimination along gender lines has no power over the achievement of the truest potential. Ladies and gentlemen, it is imperative that women and girls today and generations to come know and take their place in science. Without any reservation, this ministry is committed to providing the support necessary to make this happen. I urge industry leaders, scientists, teachers, and parents alike to follow suit and expose our women and girls to the opportunities and prospects available in the STEM fields. In closing, I wish to encourage our women in science to continue their groundbreaking work. Continue to be strong and diligent in all things, because the work you do today will echo in the annals of time and inspire our next generation of women to continue this bold legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, it was truly my pleasure. I thank you. I like to follow suit and expose our women and girls to the opportunities and prospects available in the STEM fields. In closing, I wish to encourage our women in science to continue their groundbreaking work. Continue to be strong and diligent in all things, because the work you do today will echo in the annals
the
Hi everyone, it is International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Good afternoon again. So, had a little bit of technicality, and the IT team is currently dealing with the situation. So, we're actually joining live on a different platform. The quality is still good, but not the best as what we had. But we will work with that until the IT resolves the situation. All right. So, right as we got caught, I was mentioning that we are about to give an overview of the event, and we're being joined by Ms. Cabell Hilton, and she is the coordinator for Science and Technology Education Unit at the Scientific Research Council, which is where we're at this afternoon. And I was mentioning that she herself not only works at the Scientific Research Council, but is also an entrepreneur in STEM, and she's also a Master of Philosophy PhD student at the University of the West Indies. So she's going to give us a quick overview of what's happening here this afternoon. Cabell, you can take it over.
Thank you so much, Tamara. And I do apologize for the technical difficulties that we are experiencing. But, you know, as women, we know about challenges and we know how to overcome them. So we are going to push through, push forward in the years.
Indeed, we're rolling with the punches and moving forward.
Right. The Conversations in Science series started in 2020 to commemorate SRC's 60th anniversary, and is designed to engage and sensitize the public, students, and experts in the field of science and technology in conversation on science-based impacted issues in Jamaica. The Scientific Research Council is well aware of the importance of engaging with ordinary citizens of our country to promote interest, awareness, and understanding of science and technology among our population. The series aims to provide a unique educational bridge between scientists and the public, which we hope will strengthen understanding of science and technology in a stimulating and entertaining manner. Today marks our 5th staging of the Conversations in Science series, and it is being held on International Day of Women and Girls in Science, under the theme, The Legacy of Women in STEM, Fueling Next Gen Careers. Our guest speaker, presenters, and panelists, which consist of trailblazing women leaders, scientists, and academia, will highlight the legacy of women in STEM and their significant role in mentoring and inspiring the next generation of girls. Remember, representation matters. So I implore you to encourage a girl today to pursue a career in STEM. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hilton. And as she just mentioned, representation matters. It is indeed crucial. While we wait for Minister, I think the IT team is still sorting that out. We're just going to quickly look at some of the objectives here of this afternoon's conversation in science series, because it is indeed crucial, as Ms. Hilton outlined. And some of the major objectives here this afternoon is to promote positive role models for boys and girls, because we do have to admit we need that. We need our young women, we need our young men to know that science is a viable option and that they can make some good money. I mean, like you speak of the engineer, you're making good money. So there is so many opportunities for them. It's to celebrate the contributions of the scientific community to national growth and economic development, because nothing can be achieved here in Jamaica or across the globe without science, right? It's to increase the attractiveness of science and technology to students, because that is indeed crucial to foster curiosity and interest in science. So I'm going to admit, when I was in school, I was one of the art students, but I was, quote unquote, what I'm called, right? But science, I did love some of the science subjects, not all of them. So, for example, like physics, though, oh my gosh, I'm sure some of the students who are joining, or even some of the adults who are joining, mainly, can attest that physics was not the easiest of subjects for me because I was not a math lover, right? And physics has like calculations and support. But some of you, I applaud you, which is why I applaud all the scientists who are here, or the body scientists. Because trust me, to do all of those formulation and all of those calculation, your brain power is super, right? And another objective here this afternoon is to provide the general public with accurate information to help them understand the challenges that directly from science, such as climate change, food security, or vaccination. And that is so crucial because, as Minister Darrell earlier mentioned, and Minister Baz, of course, is the Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, earlier had mentioned in terms of sustainable development goals and the importance of quality in science. So those are some of the major objectives here. We are standing by to hear from our Minister of Education and Youth, the Honorable Favour Williams. Let me just check to see if she is ready.
I'm on.
All right,
I'm
so
on.
great.
I'm on.
She's getting herself prepared.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope you're hearing me.
Hi, Minister. Yes, we're hearing you. All right, we're just going to do a quick 1 minute introduction and then you can take over. All right, so Minister is on, and of course that is the Minister of Education and the Honorable Favour Williams. And she is a woman of, several firsts. She's the first female member of Parliament for the State and the Eastern constituency. That's actually my constituency, right? Yes, and she's doing good work, yes. So she's the first female member of Parliament there. She's the first female to be a minister in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? She's also the first female Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology. So that is crucial. That is the cusp of what we are discussing here this afternoon. So without further ado, put up your virtual hands, your virtual hearts, and let's make Minister welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies. Let me acknowledge as Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, and of course, is Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology, Mrs. Carol Palmer, Dr. Watson, Executive Director of the Scientific Research Council, Mrs. Hilton, Coordinator, Science and Technology Education Unit, also at the SRC, Dr. Olive Jean Burrows, Executive Director, National Commission on Science and Technology, Mrs. Felicia Ricketts Graham, Principal of Western STEM Academy, Ms. Vassal, Youth
It seems she was frozen.
So first, may I begin with commendations to the Science and Technology Education Unit of the Scientific Research Council, SRC, for organizing this, the 5th Conversation in Science series. I'm sure all our attendees will benefit from the wealth of knowledge to be shared by our panelists. It is, of course, fitting that today's event is taking place on the International Day of Women and Girls in Science under the theme, The Legacy of Women in STEM, Fueling Next Gen Girls. This speaks to how we can create an environment and opportunities for girls and women who are able to visualize and bring to reality their role in creating a future for all through the sciences. And I am delighted to be able to share with you today. I'm also happy to state the obvious, that it does not take much research to establish or point to the fact that women have played a significant role in scientific discovery and science education over many years. Locally and internationally, women have been mentors and guides and continue to lead in this sector currently. The name Marie Curie comes easily to mind as one of the more well-known pioneers of research in science, and who remains the only scientist to win Nobel Prizes in 2 scientific fields. After studying in France, Madame Curie became a professor of physics and opened a laboratory to study radiation. After the discovery of radioactivity in 1896, she isolated the new elements. For the first time, there are 2 new elements, radium and polonium, and she isolated these for the first time. She also developed a method to isolate radium for observation. In 1903, Madame Curie won the Nobel Prize in Physics for her work on spontaneous radiation. Her work on radioactivity earned her a 2nd Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, in 1911. Much earlier in the 17th century, there were other women who transformed the fields of botany and zoology. In the 1670s, Maria Marion collected and observed living moths, butterflies, created catalog of European insects. By working from life rather than preserved specimens, Miriam added vibrancy to the understanding of zoology. After publishing several illustrated books, she traveled to South America with her daughter to continue the work. And we are reading about her work today. In the then Dutch colony of Suriname, Miriam studied indigenous animals and plants in their natural habitats. Once she returned to the Netherlands, Miriam published her naturalist study of Suriname, helping to shape modern zoology and botany. Most recently, the world was awakened to the role of African-American women in the development of American space technology through the movie Hidden Figures. And I hope many of you have seen it. The film depicted the central role of the African-American female mathematicians who worked at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, during the space race of the early 1960s. Here in Jamaica, women have been doing significant work in medicine, environmental sciences, ecology, and other areas. So for example, there's Dr. Cicely Williams, a Jamaican pioneer in the field of pediatrics. As a physician, Dr. Williams specialized in nutrition, pediatrics, and maternal care, but was most noted for her discovery of the child malnutrition syndrome, kwashiorkor. Dr. Williams was born in Westmoreland in 1893 and was one of the first
It's a little bit frozen again. Mr. Williams? Seems that she may be a bit frozen. And we were having such an insightful presentation there by the Ministry of Education and you, the Honorable Favour Williams. We're going to still try for her. Yeah, we're going to continue to try. But in the meantime, she made some poignant
But it is interesting, and this is why we need more women and girls in science, because we're having a little bit of even from the ministers and technology. And I'm sure you have more women and girls that is helping all super technology concerned. Because when it comes down to the women and the girls, not to bash on them, because we love people, we love the men and the boys, but trust me, we get things done smoothly all the time, right? Am I right? Just give me a thumbs up. All right, so this, of course, is Scientific Research Council Conversation in Science series. It's the 5th staging, and we have much more in store. We have an esteemed panel, but of course, today is International Day of Women and Girls in Science, and the theme is the legacy of women in STEM, fueling next-gen girls. So earlier we heard from Dr. Chara Watson, Executive Director of the SIC. We also had opening remarks by Honorable Darren Brown, Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology. We also heard from Ms. Camille Fruitman, coordinator of the Science and Technology Education Unit. And of course, we were hearing our guest speaker, Honorable Favour Williams, and Minister of Education. And guess what? She is back. So we will rejoin the minister at this time. hopefully at some point during the conference, or service provider, one of the telecommunications. I think we trying to have it sorted out. It's raining here and it keeps us from sure that so what is happening problem. But of course, as we are all professionals, we are moving forward nonetheless, right? And it, as I mentioned, the 50 saving on the conversation text. So you've been hearing me talk a lot. So you want to get a little bit of entertainment. So this time we're going to just relax. And we're supposed to have a musical recording that I can understand. But we're going to move forward from that. Then we're going to move on, and we're going to get ready for our very important panel discussion. And our panel discussion this afternoon is at the theme Unlocking the History and Legacy of Jamaican STEM. And anybody start, type in the chat and tell me what is STEM, right? Listen, all you in the chat should know what is STEM because you're all the scientists or the scientists there. So if you type on it, you know I'm sure the person monitoring can tell you is the first person that has answered. Right? Are you seeing anybody answering? Okay, so Mr. Scott has answered what is his answer? Oh, what was the earlier question? So the earlier question was who was the name of the scientist that won the Nobel Prize for Physics that Minister Williams had mentioned? And you're right, Mr. Scott, you are encouraged. As it relates to the prize, the SRC group, we make no promises, but the SRC group, we thank you for it. But the knowledge, your knowledge would have to be expanded. So yeah, so we're getting ready for our discussion here, our panel discussion. And I've seen a lovely lady and a lovely woman. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of them. All right, so before our panel discussion here this afternoon, we are having Dr. Olive Jean Burrows, and she's the Executive Director of the National Commission on Science and Technology. And you really wonder why we're going to hear from this, right? Dr. Burrows. One of the things I'm about all of you ladies in science is that all of you either have your PhD or you're on the road to having your PhD, and it's very impressive, trust me. So Dr. Olive Jean Burrows is a Jamaican scientist with both local and international experience in food product innovation and quality system implementation. As I mentioned, she's the current Executive Director of the National Commission on Science and Technology. And I remember speaking to her. So it's nice to see you in person. Very lovely as you saw on the radio. And she received her Bachelor of Science honors in Biochemistry Microbiology from the University of Westminster in London, England. Also with a Master of Science in Food Science at the University of Florida, Gainesville. PhD in Food Science and Biotechnology from Rutgers University. And she's a Fulbright Scholar and an OAS Graduate Scholarship. Trust me, I could go on. She is quite accomplished, right? That's amazing. Being a Fulbright Scholar and all. We also have joining us here on the panel this afternoon, Shade Russell. And Shade Russell is a passionate 24-year-old youth advocate who is invested in career development and mentorship of young Jamaicans, right? And Shade is in the capacity as a youth leader, advocate, and scientist. So we have a nice balance here. Young, very young, and a little bit, not very much, just a little bit mature, right? So we are mature and this afternoon. Also, we have on the panel Dr. Grace Andino, who is a research scientist for research and development here at the Scientific Research Council. And also joining us is Ms. Felicia Wilkins Graham, who is a principal of Western STEM Academy. And Miss Graham has blown up on social media lately and traditional media because of her very impactful story as a young lady in science and also Jamaica's youngest principal. So we are indeed happy to have two of our panelists joining us here in person and the other two joining here virtually. And the other panelists, of course, joining us here in person is Dr. Grayson Juno, who I mentioned is a research scientist here at Scientific Research Council. He's also very much accomplished. She's a highly experienced scientist, nutritionist, and chemist with a PhD in nutrition and over 10 years of experience with natural products research and development. All right, so you've been hearing my voice so much. So we're going to jump right into the discussion. You have your mic ready, my esteemed panelists. Okay, so get them the mic so they can join in the conversation. I think there was a coordinate somewhere here near you. And of course, the topic here is actually at unlocking, right? Unlocking the history and legacy of Jamaican women. I think there is a mic here. All right, so as we have the discussion with our panelists, if you have any questions, you can just drop them down. You can type in the chat as well, and then later on, or someone from the SIC will feed us the question, share it with the panelists, and then we will answer. Just to make sure that we have Ms. Felicia Graham on and also Shade, right? Shade Ambassador on virtually. All right. So I'm going to start off with kind of discussion because obviously today being International Day of Women and Girls in Science, that is the crux of what we're discussing. And I want to start things off with Dr. Burrows. Dr. Burrows, why is it so important to get more of our women and our young people involved in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math?
10 days later, while all COVID regulations in England are set to be abolished in 2 weeks, the Welsh First Minister, Mark Drakeford, who himself has tested positive for the virus and is in isolation, stressed his government remained cautious. He said yesterday, and I quote, with increasing numbers of people vaccinated and boosted, and
that movie, figures. Oh yes, we talked about exactly. Although this came out.
Now, drive time.
These women, it's a biography, so it's not just a movie, right? It's the story of these three women who were mathematicians. This was back in the 60s in the United States, whereas we know there were lots of issues. Not only were they women, they were black. Yes, and they were the ones who had this thing that made that just would come back in the water at the right time. They had several physicists and mathematicians who just couldn't get it right. It was this, there's one in particular, there's one in particular who she was still alive when the movie was in university, and she gave her version of the story. But she was the star of the show, so to speak. And it was her back in the 60s in the US, which I think is so remarkable. It's her calculations that actually brought that shuttle back to her at the right time without going into series, right? So the women in science story, it is pretty old. It's just that there has not been a lot of recognition for women in science. We do have our own women here for our trailblazers in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. Of course, I think of the first master blender. Oh, Joy Smith. I've seen her in years, but I think.
But she's publicly known here in
Jamaica.
And across the world.
Oh, absolutely. How do you match those flavors to give you the right blend and to give you the right flavor and mouthfeel and all of that?
That's very interesting.
That is science. Yes. So we do have our own. I know of Dr. tenant
Yes.
who's done some work, and it was the first scientist, I guess, was a male or female indeed, to develop by genetic engineering a virus-resistant strain.
Wow.
So, you know, women in science have been there for a long time, and you were right what you said earlier, because we're so particular,
Yes.
so meticulous in all that we do. We do really need these women in science because we really need things.
I love that. It will make things happen. It's interesting. That's the lipstick lead. And by the way, that is also science because the cosmetic industry, it's all scientific. The food industry in terms of the flavors and what. And as a matter of fact, they have done a great center because we're involved in a lot of product research and development, and you see not even like food. And the food industry, many wouldn't even realize, like eating a snack, the Doritos or whichever snack you're eating, the flavors, that's all science. Tell us about that as well.
Right, indeed, thank you. A lot of persons at times they underestimate food and like just thinking, oh, it's food. And this time, as a child, even growing up, that was one of my main things. I was curious about health and stuff like that. But my main thing is understanding what I eat. And when I understand what I eat and the whole process that takes place within the body, then I can better make my choices. I can eat a pizza. I know what amount of energy that I'm going to consume. And then from then, I know what to do so as not to gain so much weight. Right. Right. So science is everywhere, as it is everywhere in the atmosphere, it's everywhere. You can't exist without science. Making a product to stay on the shelf, it's not just going on the shelf like that. It's the science behind it. You have to know what type of product is this. Is this a low acid product? Is this a acidic product? What it is. And when you know and understand your product, then you're better guided as to what type of packaging material will I need to put this product in. Also, when you know the constituent of the product, say, just for simplicity, say a nut, which is in fact, you know that you have to package it a certain way because this product will become acid over time. So you know that, okay, I need magnesium to use what we call a triple barrier packaging material, because you want to know that you will blocking out oxygen, you will blocking out the sunlight and stuff like that, that will increase the rate at which this product will go off, and you will eating this and start and saying, this don't really taste that good. So science is everywhere, and it is in our food, as you have mentioned in the blender. You have to know the flavors, you have to know what complements what. You have to know what you can put together or they don't go together at all, right? So it helps in everything that we do, and we're a nation that we do love to eat. So when you understand what you can put together, what you can put together in your meal, even at home, it helps.
Indeed,
it helps.
Indeed, a very crucial points there. And then it even lends itself to entrepreneurship, because you here at the SRC, you have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of persons with whatever products that they are implementing. Share with us the usefulness or the vitalness of that role here at the SRC in helping a lot of entrepreneurs to develop their products and brands.
Thanks for that question. Yes, at the SRC, we are also we are practical peculiar in nation growth, to put it simply. The small, medium, large scale prices, whatever the issue, we help solve that, because what we want is for your product to be on the shelf, to expand, to improve in terms of not just the marketing, employment, in every aspect there. So at times you have persons at home, they'll be doing a blend, say just a sauce, like ketchup or marinade, whatever that product is. And at times they were packaging it and then they realize, oh, this pump when I can put it. And they wonder what is happening to that product. So they will come into the SRC and say, this is left it and the cover is gone. When I get back and stuff like that, how can I fix this product? I want to go on the market. So we are here to answer that question. What is happening here?
more than like we're having oxidation and respiration going on inside this container. So the gas is being built up and then goes apart. Right. So there are steps and there are measures that need to be implemented that needs to reduce or to eliminate that from happening so that your product can be stable on the shelf. So whatever the issue, whatever the product may be, it can be goods, it can be sauces, it can be beverages, whatever that product is.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Grayson. We're continuing our conversation in science series. Of course, we have an esteemed group of panelists here, all trailblazing women in science. You earlier heard from Dr. Albie Barrows, Executive Director of the National Commission on Science and Technology, and we just had a talk with Dr. Grayson, Junior Research Scientist, Product Research and Development here at the Scientific Research Council. Today is, of course, the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, being observed under the theme, the legacy of women in STEM fueling next gen girls. And of course, our panel discussion here this afternoon looking at unlocking the history and legacy of Jamaican women in STEM. So unlocking that history, by the way, we're going to talk to a bit of the even younger folks, because these names are all still young enough, but even younger. And we have Mrs. Felicia Ricketts Graham, she's joining us virtually. Mrs. Ricketts, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me? Good afternoon.
Ricketts? Yes, she is. And of course, she is the principal of Western STEM Academy. And as I mentioned, her inspirational story has been reaching many. We're going to have her share a little bit of it because she is the youngest principal in Jamaica. She's still in her mid-20s, early 20s, and just that's an amazing feat. So Mrs. Felicia Ricketts, of course, you're a young lady in STEM. Tell us about why you decided to venture along this route, especially for a young woman at that.
Well, STEM for me is life. STEM, science, it's all about life. It's everything around us, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I don't think I had a big choice to play in this. I mean, everything around us is STEM. And from I was a little girl, science and technology would intrigue me. In high school, I just loved how passionate my teachers were. And I think that fueled me.
Technicality at the last part. I didn't hear the last bit. Could you just repeat that last bit?
Okay, so I was saying that from a very young age, I was always passionate about STEM. That's fine. Passionate about science, passionate about how we can use science and technology to actually fuel the future. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you, but I'm not sure if you're hearing me clearly.
All right. Ms. Ricketts, our sincere apologies. So I know the persons joining virtually on Zoom and our social media channels are hearing, but here in, I think in your studio, they're still making a bit of adjustment. Again, technology for you. But for those who are just heard what Ms. Ricketts said by Zoom and said by virtual, can you just quickly outline, one of the main points that you think why it's important for young women to be actively involved in science? You can just make a quick write-up in the chat why you think it's so important. I wasn't hearing Ms. Ricketts just now, my sincere apologies, but I do know that those who are joining virtually heard her as well. So while they continue to dissect the technology here on the ground, we just want to remind persons that yes, this is a conversation in science series. It's the 5th staging by the Scientific Research Council, and of course, a number of other players on board the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology, that's MSET. We have a number of other players, and yes, unlocking the history and legacy of Jamaican women in science. All right. So Ms. Ricketts, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to come back to you in a bit, all right, while they finalize what's happening here on the ground. So I'm going to go back to Dr. Barrows. So we were just talking about, the food industry, the cosmetic industry, and all the different avenues where science impacts. So some of the younger students who may be even tuning in here this afternoon, they may want to know what are the range of career options available to them in science, because automatically you may think you have to be like a great scientist or an astronaut or go to the moon or become a science teacher. But I'm sure there's so many other career options. So share with us a bit of that.
Dr. Juno mentioned that she's a food scientist.
Rosie,
I am a food scientist as well, but I've done a lot of other types of research. I don't know, be a science teacher.
Yes,
because
that's a good one because this is
and that is where you need to start. Because my journey really is started when I was 10 years old in first common high school, and saw copper sulfate that looks like clear crystals when it's dry, in the container. And then when it got hydrated in water, it became blue.
Oh wow! I never even saw that myself.
And that was my aha moment. So you know, the science encompasses a lot of professions and a lot of things that you can do.
Yes.
Of course, I would start with being a science teacher,
Yes.
A food scientist, and engineer is a scientist,
Yes.
right? Engineering. It's any of those professions where you're using science and technology as the basis of what you do. There's the environmentalist who studies what is happening in the environment, and a very necessary group of scientists as well. And the agricultural scientists. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, and I was saying to her, yeah, oh, did you realize that today is International Day for Women and Girls in Science? Oh, I didn't know, but I'm in agriculture.
Okay, so turn off
I'm a scientist, so yeah. So there is that various areas of agriculture, and there are the botanists who just study plants and plant diseases, etc. For science, there's medical science.
Yes.
Technology, those persons in the lab look at the blood samples and see what the blood looks like and what the levels are.
Right there is called
Then you got to treat the diagnosis. There's so many, right? But it traverses all areas, right? Medical science, environmental science, food science, the chemical sciences, the physicists are scientists.
Yes.
So it's a myriad of professions that you can do.
You're a professional indeed. Thank you for sharing that, because as you mentioned, you're not even a science teacher, because we were just talking to Miss Ricketts Graham, and she is a science teacher, but she's also an entrepreneur because she has her own institution. So she's also not having to work for anybody. She's running a business, but at the same time, she's following her passion. So I think it can be multifaceted as well in science. I think with every Dr. Junior, right?
Right.
Okay, so share with us why you think that it can also be multifaceted. By the way, when you say like a hairdresser or a nail tech is a scientist, yeah, because they have to use chemicals and yes.
Right. As I think we mentioned earlier, in the cosmetic field, that you have it is science, because in the bar soap, the liquid soap or whatever soap that is, it is science. So as I said, science is all around us. So it's not just person might look at it as being abstract, it's science. But science is needed to produce solution. So we have to know what is happening, so then we can go about and get the solution for it, right? And that's what, so in all sense or word, we're all scientists, right? We're all scientists, we're always trying to find a solution for something. So you have the that you have the nutritionists, right? You have the dietitians. You have, as I say, it's a myriad of occupations that you can have. The chemists, the engineer who will be making medicinal chemistry, the chemists. So you go about to do the research. Now we're in the vaccination era. And it's a good thing that we have a scientist there that can go in and to analyze it to see how best that we can come up with a solution. It is all science.
All science indeed. I'm not sure what's happening on the ground here at IPT, okay? So I'm hearing that we can go back to Mrs. Felicia Ricketts Graham. And earlier you were speaking, so we're just going to continue that conversation. And in your capacity as one of the youngest principals here in Jamaica, but also the CEO of Western STEM Academy, how is it that you combine your passion in science but also being an entrepreneur? Is that a challenge or you find that it works?
For me, it works. It actually works combining entrepreneurship. Can you hear now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, great. So for me, entrepreneurship and STEM, they go hand in hand. So whenever we are actually encouraging young girls, young ladies to pursue STEM, we can actually empower them to understand that, guess what? It's not just STEM where you have to work for somebody else. You can also pursue the entrepreneurship part of STEM, because STEM, science, is everything around us. For me, it's actually something that I enjoy, so I don't find it as a challenge any at all. I love science. That's what I did my first degree in. And I love business. That's what I'm doing my master's in. So it's a combination for me.
Okay, I love that. It's a combination. And I mean, the fact that, as she mentioned, STEM, it's not just only science, it's also technology, it's engineering, it's math, everything working together. And I really love that point. I'm going to move on to Michelle. She's a youth leader, an advocate, and she's also a scientist. And especially for the young people, I'm sure you would also want to know, because we're in the age because of science and technology as well, why we're able to have a hybrid sort of conversation in science. So here we are underground at the SRC, but we also have other persons joining from across the world, across the nation, right? By the different technological outputs, right? So, Ms. Shelley Vasto, tell us, in your opinion, what are some of the opportunities in terms of online in science that also even younger students in high school can look to try or to become in science and technology? And I raise that point because, of course, everything nowadays is online. We're having Zoom meetings, especially since the pandemic. We're making money by YouTube, you know, influencers, the age of influencers, so many opportunities online. So how do you think there can be a merge of science and technology, but also bringing it into the online and the, you know, modern, postmodern society? Hope that's not too because that's
yes, how you can actually go online with science is basically what you're doing. Yes, so basically what you're doing, the social media pages that are on, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, these are different avenues. You can pitch your idea. You can actually search for opportunities within science. Just the other day, I was talking to some of my peers and I told them about opportunities that are readily accessible. As you said, STEM program, we have technology which is advancing so much, and so we can actually bring science into our social media page. So one of the ways you can do is go online. LinkedIn is a good way you can actually reach out to persons within your field. I think that's one of the best ways you can merge like who you are and what you want to do in science is to actually go on LinkedIn, which is a great opportunity to meet persons that are interested within the science field. So you can meet persons within the science field, such as HR managers who are from SRT, and you can meet some of these persons online on LinkedIn, and you can even send them a message and even ask them to have a session with you to tell them to understand what it means to work within a career field within science. So I think that nowadays it's readily accessible. It's not like 10 years before, it's readily available. And once you reach out to persons who you are inspired by within the science field, they can definitely help you. So one thing, research what you would like to do in the science field, meet these persons, and you can meet them online, like what we're doing today, and then go forward.
I love that. I love that, Shelley. I love that. And I mean, that's a very important point in terms of using the options availability like the LinkedIn and reaching out to persons. Because I myself am not in science per se, but I've met so many persons through that social media platform, that professional social media platform. And in fact, the usefulness of using online to put forward the recognition and bringing forward some more knowledge of women in science, because Ms. Ricky, just going back to you, I know for a fact, remember seeing your stories recently on Twitter and then LinkedIn, and then it just started blowing up because, again, of the online platform of technology, and then being able to bring your message to a wider channel. Here you are with us. I know you've been on several media, television and radio, and in the papers and so forth. So using new media can be a useful tool as well. You would also say these repeats, right?
Yes, definitely. So new media, social media is definitely the way to go. I totally agree with that. For me to actually get my story out, to actually share with persons, I use social media mostly. It was actually after a Twitter post that the Gleaner reached out to me, then Smile Jamaica reached out to me, and so many other media houses actually reached out to me and asked me to share my story. So I know that social media is a powerful tool. So if you are in STEM right now, what you need to do is to think about how you can use social media, because that's a part of STEM. It's the technology aspect, right? So go out, share whatever information that you have with the world. You have the world at your fingertips right on your device right here. So go out and share what you know about STEM, meet other people. So I definitely concur with what the other panelists just said.
Sharing reads of new media, and of course bringing that a part of the conversation here in Science Series. We're winding down, but I want to go back quickly to Dr. Olive Jean Burrows to touch on the whole issue of balancing, because as I'm a sure lady in science, in the field of science, how is it that you manage your other responsibilities, but at the same time, I am sure your profession is very demanding. So can you balance? And for the high schoolers who are tuning in and you're like, boy, what about when when I'm ready to do other things, how am I going to balance it? Do you want to share something that can be achieved or not?
Well, anything can be achieved if you set your mind to it. So that would be my first statement. But yeah, actually, before that, I wanted to go for a warning that would put off youngsters who are really like the biology. So you break down science into the specialized areas, biology, chemistry, physics. So now, most of us girls in high school really like the biology part of it.
I mean,
but chemistry not so much, but the mathematics is what we usually do just that.
Yes,
but I'm here to tell you that with all the academic qualifications that you all mentioned about me, I was very bad at mathematics in high school.
I don't believe it. I fail to believe that.
So my point being, even if you are not very strong in one area, and you really like the others, and you think you would be interested in pursuing science, do not be discouraged. Wow. You just have to take some time and work on it, and get to where you need to go. Because really, I was no good at mathematics, but you needed it, so you had to work on it. So I think that I just wanted to go out there, make that point, because don't be turned off by math in particular or anything else. But to answer your question, yes, sometimes it becomes a little tricky, as a friend of mine would say, for this work-life balance. Yeah. As you progress in your career, and yes, sciences can be demanding depending on what aspect you're doing. I did a lot of research, so it required a lot of time in laboratory, developing processes, etc. But I love that, so for me that's okay. But what it means is that you will have to really find a way to maximize how best you can use your time. It's called time management, and you can do that from high school. You set aside some time when you will do the things that are important but not urgent. Those things that are urgent but not important, you put at the top of the list. And those other things which, yes, in time you can get done. So you have to prioritize. Yeah. And as you do that, you will find that you will get the important things done. When it comes to family life balance, you have to set aside a time, a day at least, when you say this is for my family. I did my master's when I had a 4-month-old child.
Wow.
And overseas. And there were family members who were not supportive of me at the time, but that's when I got my Fulbright scholarship. And I am thinking, do you pass up this opportunity? And I had a supportive nuclear family. And this was my firstborn, and it's a baby. And I went to the University of Florida, and I did it. Not because you're some superwoman or you're trying to break waves or whatever, but this was an opportunity that I decided I did not want to miss. So I had to manage my time, prioritize, as I just mentioned, and get on with it. And with support, with the right support, you get it done. So this is what I would say: balance your time.
That's a very inspiring word here, Dr. Burrows. I mean, the fact that especially, being pregnant and having a 4-month-old and doing all that you did, but as you just mentioned, is prioritizing your time. And if you, as the younger generation, as the students here in high school, the girls who have those aspirations and ambitions, you start to know to prioritize your time. That habit will take you very well, even into your adult years. Dr. Junior, I'm not sure if you want to touch on that as well.
Okay, what I would say to the young lady is that do not be turned off from science. A lot of time persons say, only bright people do science or stuff like that. If you have a passion and that zeal, and at times it's not coming forth at the time that you want it to come forth, but there is that inner drive that you have, I would encourage you to continue. One of my, if we all know Anthony Parchment, Olympian, and on his journey, he wasn't a great athlete. He was not even an average athlete, but he continued because he had that inner drive to continue. He jumped over, fall over the hurdles, and he continued. So what I'm saying to I was going to say us young ladies, but yes, is that do not be deterred by the hurdles, do not be deterred by the mountain, do not be deterred by financial constraints, do not be deterred. What you need to do is to get a mentor so that they can be able to guide you along the way. They will help you to navigate the path, because at times, not having that support, you may fall and wander away. But just get a mentor so that you will be able to go along no matter what it may be. You will be discouraged. I remember earlier during my PhD studies, I was there one day and a professor passed by and said, "What happened? How is it going?" And I'm saying, "I feel like giving up this thing. I can't manage that." And his words were to me that's it. That means you're doing something good, right? So, and then I pull myself up and say, okay, this is just a part of the journey. There is nothing in this life that will just be smooth, right? So life has everything. It's good, it's bad, it's different. And all of that comes together and push you into the path that you should go. So get up, whoever it is. If you don't like math, that's okay. There is somebody out there that can do math. So you seek out that person, seek out who can help. Get yourself focused. You have to be focused, right? So get yourself focused. If you know you are not accountable, get someone that can help to keep you accountable and go, because we do need more women in science.
Wow, I'm loving that. Passionate, powerful women here in science, trailblazing women in science, of course, Dr. Grace Anduna and Dr. Olive G. Forrest. As I mentioned, we are winding down. I'm just going to go back to our two younger persons who are joining us by Zoom. And then we go to Ms. Shelley Bassel. I'm going to get my final word from Ms. Shelley Bassel. But I want to quickly touch on the main topic in terms of the history and legacy of Jamaican women in STEM. Ms. Bassel, can you tell us who, few of the women in STEM here on the island that inspires you? And then also at the same time, we are here, we want to learn because it's a conversation. So from a younger person and an advocate, what are some of the ways do you think we need to improve in terms of STEM here in Jamaica?
Yes. Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. We are.
Yes. I must say that STEM has been improving over the years as it relates to putting it out there. From I was at a younger age in primary school, I was a lover of maths. I loved maths so much, and because I was a problem solver, I just went into the science field because I love solving problems. And one of the things I would say to improve science in Jamaica is to do a lot more programs just like this to spread the awareness within the Caribbean of different people, different young people, different women in science. Because when you think about science and the history of science, you think about Einstein, but you're not looking at persons who have been empowered, woman empowerment. And I think that forums like this help us to understand that women in science actually are good, and it's a good way to help young people. So the mentorship, I must agree with mentorship. Mentorship is a must. Find someone who you are inspired by and find a career that you actually love and research on it. And that is where you will find people within your field. And once you do this, then you will understand what it actually means. I am in the field of forensic science. And to be honest, the name is so big, forensic. I didn't even know what it meant. And so with me understanding it, it actually was to just look at it on a whole, understand what it meant, so research on it and see what it is within Jamaica. And because of that, I actually understand what it meant even going to high school, going to university. And it helped me to understand that the different modules are the things that I did within school, how it actually helped me towards being being in this field. So the first thing I would say is spread more awareness of the different science field within Jamaica. And it's with my field, it's kind of with my field, you don't really want to put it out there like a lot of it, but you want to spread the awareness that within the crime scene, there are actually persons who are working to help persons to solve crime based on the different analysis. And so we want persons to understand that you can be a part of problem solving within Jamaica.
Passionate 24-year-old youth advocate, scientist, and so much more. And of course, she's also an entrepreneur, YouTuber, and content creator. I know I get to understand why you could speak so eloquently on the combination of media in science. All right, so we have, I understand, a question in the chat. Before I go to that, I'm going to get a quick word in from Ms. Felicia Ricketts Graham, because we, again, just to get the views of the younger, even the younger persons here on what else we can do, because of course, they're lauding the SRC's conversation with science teams and saying we need more of this. So from your standpoint, Mrs. Ricketts Graham, what else do you think can be done to bring even more awareness of the contributions of women in science here in Jamaica? And yeah, tell us your
Right now, where we stand, I must say thank you so much for hosting this. Thank you, SRC. This is a very good initiative. We're going in the right direction. What can be done? We have to start from very early. We cannot wait to introduce STEM when students reach high school or tertiary education level. We have to start from very early. So that's something that we're leading in at Western STEM Academy. We're starting STEM as a core subject. So just as how you have math and English and science, STEM is a multidimensional approach to education. So the students are exposed to that from as early as the early childhood level. Students should also be exposed to career counseling as a core subject from grade 1, so that we can be exposed to the different careers, because Ms. Vassell mentioned earlier that whenever she heard about her current career choice, she didn't really know what it was until later on in life. So what we have to do is to ensure that students are exposed to the other careers that are involved in science, because truth be told, many students, whenever you say science, the only thing that they can think about is probably an astronaut or a doctor, and we don't have that passion, right? So develop the passion from a very young age, support, mentor, and educate. The female, oh, you didn't ask me about the female scientists, but the female scientist that I really admire is really Dr. Cicely Williams. She did a lot of work in maternal and child health. So we want to actually allow these persons, allow these stories to actually go right across. Everybody should know about Jamaican scientists, Jamaican women in science from as early as the early childhood level of education.
It is International Day of Women and Girls in Science, but in America, it's observed as Black History Month. A lot of times we think Black history just for the Americans and they showcase the African American scientists. But here in Jamaica, we have our own Black women in science who have made significant contribution locally. So we laud and we applaud what everyone here is doing. All right, so in the chat, someone is asking, and I'm going to pose this question to either Dr. Jean Burrows or Dr. Grayson Today. You can decide on both of you can answer depending on your area. But someone is asking, what are your thoughts on homeopathic medicine or natural remedies for cures as opposed to traditional pills and medical treatment? You both can share. So we will have Dr. Burrows answering, and then we move on to Dr. Julia.
So the first thing is that's one of the areas that the MCSC that I had is looking at legislation around getting that as a part of the legislation to be controlled and to be able for Jamaicans to use that.
Wow.
Because we know from our grandmothers, those of us who are older, that when we were kids, we got the fever. When we had the fever.
And even if you go in country like you're still young, but I grew up around
exactly. You had a number of home remedies, research, and that's where the science comes in. Research has shown has been able to look at these, be able to find what the active ingredients are and how they work. And so you have now titratable levels, meaning levels that you know exactly how much you can use for it to be effective. And because we are able to control the levels and all of that, I applaud that. I am all for it as long as we've done the right research and we know control levels, etc. Because guess what? The pharmaceutical stuff is filled with a lot of what they call excipients, just other things to make it up, and very small amount of the active ingredients, and it's costly. Yes. So if we can have our own natural remedies without all the artificial stuff added to that, then I am all for that. And yes, Jamaica, we are looking at natural remedies, but not industry, industry.
I love that. I love that point because I remember when the other day, well, probably like a month ago, when I was still, and my mom told me to mix up like the turmeric, the garlic, and the ginger. What else she tells me? And boil that up with the honey and drink it. And I tell you, it was like magic. And I was still, but the truth is, I was still taking off the cold, the pharmaceutical. But trust me, I think the natural remedy also helps. So I rightly mentioned there is that there's space for that. So Dr. Do you want to address this question?
Right. Indeed. What I would say everything or each sector has their place. We have one because all these medications they are derived from plants. That's the origin of usually. You may have derivatives of that means the principal, the core of it is from the plant. And then I can add a thing there or add a thing there to increase its activity and stuff like that. Yes, I'll agree that the medicinal or the synthetic plant or the synthetic medication do at times, and I'm not promoting medicine or any of them, but they do at times will bring along with it other negative, right? So you are taking a tablet for something and you are creating another issue, like you need taking another tablet to solve that issue with. The same goes with the plant. You have to know the plant too, because if you take a plant, first say you have blood issue and you want to fill in the blood or something like that. One of the popular ones is known as Guinea weed is a blood thinner. It has other beneficial effects as the same. So you'll be taking this medication and you'll be doing whatever you are doing and taking this plant. Yes, you get the benefit originally, and then but you continue because you don't know the added impact that it causes. So everything you have to be aware. Even the medication that you're taking, what I do is read. We have the internet, so you can read around what you are taking to let you more. When we take it more conscious and more informed thing. It's for the same for the fever grass, we know the growth state from the country, I'm a country girl. Everybody knows the sentence girl. So you know the growth state, you're sick, draw some growth state leaves and take the growth state leaves.
What's the name of that?
Growth state.
Growth state?
Yeah, we know that.
That's the first time hearing of that. Is that Jamaican?
I'm not sure if it's Jamaican.
Growth state?
Growth state.
Right.
Somebody in the chat can help us to know growth state. It's something that we use in the country for like infection and stuff. So it's very common and popular in St. Thomas. So you can take the growth state and enjoy it for your tea. And there are different other services, whatever the plant, because we want folklore. Some benefits or what we don't have and what the research has been trying to unravel is not just to isolate the active ingredients, but also what else around there. Now, we don't want this much, so you don't want to take too much of this, right? Because the kidney will be going on to working over time. So it is with a balance and with consciousness. You can't just say this helps and just I will just continue because it's good. I said I have it's not one thing. So we have to moderation, right? We have to do things with moderation. And yes, we our plants do help because that's the base of medication, that's the base of medicine. But also we have to do things with moderation.
In moderation, I love that point. But Dr.
Just quickly want to say, I concur with everything you just said. This is why we're now looking to have legislation to control what is used and to ensure that the proper research is done. Because absolutely, I mean, you can do or exactly. This is why we are looking at legislation.
I love that. So it's being done for the person, it's being done, but we're looking at, as Dr. Forrest mentioned, at doing it in moderation and having the scientists who are the experts ensure that those options are available to us, but as Dr. Junior mentioned, in the right quantities and the right amount, so we don't go overboard. There's another question in the chat, and I'm going to quote it so both of the younger ladies joining by Zoom. And then you also can add it as well. Are there any scholarships, especially geared towards the inclusion of women in STEM? Let me go to Mrs. Fitzgerald. Since you're the principal of Western STEM Academy, I'm sure you must know of some scholarships available in STEM.
In terms of scholarship in STEM, I have to take this opportunity to laud the ministry. The Ministry of Education actually has a scholarship for persons who want to study mathematics and science education. That's if you want to be a math teacher or a science teacher. And I am a beneficiary of that scholarship. That scholarship actually funded me through college, or else I'm sure that I wouldn't be here now. So thanks to them. There are also other opportunities, other scholarships that do exist. We just have to search around and see where they are, and of course, create more opportunities to award persons to study within that field. I know that several organizations, they do give scholarships. I just cannot speak to the other ones right now, but I can speak to the ministry because they do that. I know that there is, well, let me not speak to that one, but I'm certain about the ministry right now, the Ministry of Education, that is.
You're a beneficiary of that, and so others looking on and see all those opportunities are there. There's somebody benefited from it. I got those scholarships as well from the NC Foundation, years ago when well, not that many years, but some years ago when I was going into university, but it wasn't for me. I'm not a science person, but there were other persons who pursued STEM areas that benefited, and those scholarships have expanded, so there are a lot of other private sector scholarships available as well. Shade, I don't know if you want to touch on that, then we're going to go to the ladies here to also share more any scholarships available.
Yes, most definitely. This is actually where I thrive in scholarship, because I actually finance myself through school, so I am debt free. And it's not to say that it's only science scholarships, but you can get other scholarship opportunities. So you can fund yourself through school without the use of student loan. The only thing you need to do is to understand what scholarship is and apply to different organizations. If you're a PATH member, there is a grant for PATH. Also, when you're in the university, you can apply for different grants within your faculty, and that's where you'll actually see these scholarships. So you can apply for any other scholarship other than a STEM scholarship. The only thing you need to understand is what is a scholarship, and a scholarship simple is a story telling the person about yourself. And in this, it says that you should gear towards pursuing them while you are in need of this financial assistance. So once you do that, and as I said, there are many mediums in which you can reach out to persons and ask them to help you with that, nailing that scholarship essay, and it's just like that. So apply for any scholarship as long as it's the requirements are there, and just understand what it is and reach out to persons for assistance.
Dr. Barr and Dr. Julie, want to touch on it?
I'm not from the SRC, but I would just want to say that it's not just scholarship, it can be grants, and it's not just, you can't just focus on an institution or just say who's giving us scholarship, but you can approach and ask, right? You can approach the organization. This is mine. You have to sell yourself. This is a hero. You can't wait and things. So I'll encourage person, whatever it is, you can approach that institution, approach that businessman, whoever it is. Every nickel, as grandma was saying, will come up. So you can approach different persons from your community that will know, okay, this person can be the sponsor, this person to go into or to further their education. When you're at the university, there are no more different scholarships that they will publicize over time, and then so it's just go up the ladder step by step and you go. One of the things I want to go back to the question that was asked earlier. One of the precautions that we encourage for persons when doing the herbs, a lot of they can do a lot of mix of the bush. So we know that this plant is good for this, and this one is good for this, and this one is good for that. But at times, putting them together, it's not good. It's not good. Okay. It's not good. So that's a precaution that we need to take. And even in the formal medicine, it will tell you if you are taking such a medication, inform your doctor, right? And it's the same principle because it's not everything that goes together. Right, even though they might be good independently, but together, right, they don't produce that added effect together. So you have to be aware of that.
And that's a very crucial point. Right, I'm getting the wrap-up signal, but I want each of our panelists here, and just again, just to mention our esteemed group of panel here this afternoon, Dr. Olive Jean Barrows, Executive Director of the National Commission on Science and Technology, and Dr. Grace Anjuna, Research Scientist, Product Research and Development here at the Scientific Research Council. Mrs. Felicia Ricketts-Greer, Principal of Western STEM Academy, the youngest principal in Jamaica, and Ms. Shade Bassel, youth leader, advocate, and scientist, and so much more. And of course, this is the SRC's Conversation Science Series. So last word in, as we wrap up, just any word of encouragement from each of our panelists here this afternoon for our next generation of girls, because of course, that is our focus here. Looking at the legacy of women in STEM and fueling next gen girls. So each of you, I'm going to start with those joining by Zoom. Either Ms. Ricketts, I'm going to go to Ms. Ricketts again, and then Ms. Bassel. Just one word of encouragement that we want to share to the next generation of girls? I know you guys are still the next generation, but people, those in high school, because you're now in your 20s, so those even in high school, what would you want to say to them?
So my main advice for young persons, the next generation of women and girls, do not sit and wait for opportunities. Go out and create those opportunities. No one has to give you any hands-out or hand you anything as it relates to STEM. You can create that opportunity. Even Western STEM Academy, it wasn't something that was given to me. It's something that I created from the ground up. And you too are powerful. You can create something for yourself within STEM. So that's my encouragement to you. Do not wait for opportunities. Go out and create them.
My
very crucial advice. Go out and create your opportunities. Okay, Ms. Marcel, you next.
My advice to women and girls within science is to dream big and be inspired. Find the career field that you want to go into and get mentors. Find mentors so that they can understand you, so that you can understand that career field at an early age, so you can decide what you want to do. And doing this going forward, look for opportunities such as scholarships so that you can fund your education and you will be good.
Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Grace Angelo is here in studio with us.
What I say, once you can imagine it, go for it. I'm a faith believer, so I would say, not because the door is closed, doesn't mean that it's no. It may be just directing you to something else, right? So I encourage you to put God in the vessel, whether you're creating one, you may call him Jehovah, whoever it is. I'll say to put him in the vessel and let him direct you. Do not be deterred by the closed door. Just continue to go. You are sufficient to realize your dream with God by your side.
I love that. I love that. And Dr. Olive G. Morris, she will give her final remarks as well. You can share with us.
So, Dr. June and I am right there with you as a leader myself. Science and technology is the tool that we need for national development. So we have to be engaged with that. What I would like to say to young and girls is that science is not just for the bright, as somebody mentioned earlier. That's what I heard in my times. That, oh, we have to because those who are bright. And it's not something that's abstract. That, oh, you go and you write this paper and nothing happens. Everyday science is in everyday life. For those who want to be entrepreneurs, there's a plethora of young women now, or Dr. Watson, Dr. Delahaye from the Ministerial. There are a number of women who use their training in science to become entrepreneurs and successful ones at that. So if you want to own your own business, which is perhaps the best way to go, you can do it. You need science is one of the really good routes to get there.
Indeed, indeed. And we have women here at the Scientific Research Council, Tilton as well. She's an entrepreneur. We have a course with Trinity Repeats as well, Graham, with STEM Academy. So as you recommend, Sean, the opportunities are endless. That's the word, endless. All right, so thank you everyone for joining in the panel discussion. We are not over, but we just want to thank our panelists again. That was a very fruitful, engaging, informative, and insightful discussion. I myself learned a lot, and I'm not even directly involved in science, but trust me, I'm feeling very much inspired, and I'm sure those who are joining in virtual land have felt inspired as well. So let's give our panel a big round of applause, a virtual applause. Now this is a virtual applause going on, and some thumbs up. Yes, yes, going on. All right, thank you so much. So at this time now, we are moving on. We have a special video that we will want you to watch, and it's the Next Gen Girls Science Program, and this video presentation is on that. So at this time, we're going to have that video. No, we don't. We don't have that video. Okay, so I'm getting word on the ground that we do not have that video, so let me just. So in the meantime, as we await the word from, yes, we do? Okay, so as I await word from the SRC representative, you can, in the chat, you can share your feedback, share your comments. Of course, you can always get more information from the src.gov on their website. And of course, if you want to know more about some of the things mentioned here this afternoon, I want to reach out to some of our panelists
around and see where they are, and of course create more opportunities to award persons to study within that field. I know that several organizations, they do give scholarships. I just cannot speak to the other ones right now, but I can speak to the ministry because they do that. I know that there is, well, let me not speak to that one, but I'm certain about the ministry, right? The Ministry of Education, that is.
Nothing feels complete.
The beneficiary of that, and so I love to be honest. I got those
for the better part of me.
years ago when I was not that many years ago, years ago when I was going to university, but not to look for the science person, benefited, and those colleges
gotta find strength in me, 'cause I am Superwoman.
This is actually where I thrive in scholarship because I actually finance myself through school, so I am debt free. And it's not to say that it's only science scholarships, but you can get other scholarship opportunities. So you can fund yourself through school without needs of student loan. The only thing you need to do is to understand what scholarship is and apply to different organizations. If you're a PAC member, there's a grant from PAC. Also, when you're in the university, you can apply for different grants within your faculty, and that's where you actually get scholarship. So you can apply for any other scholarship other than academic scholarship. The only thing you need to understand is what is a scholarship, and a scholarship simply is a story telling the person about yourself. And in this, it says that you should gear toward financial assistance. So once you do that, and as I said, there are many mediums in which you can reach out to persons and ask them to help you with that feeling that scholarship visit, and it's just like that. So apply for any scholarship as long as the requirements are there, and just understand what it is and reach out to persons for it.
It's not just about I am this is my new assistant. This is a hero. So I will encourage you can approach that institution, approach that businessman, whatever it is. Everything that ever come up. So you can approach different their education. When you are at the university, there are no more different scholarships that they will publicize over time.
All right, so I'm happy you enjoyed the musical offering just now. And of course, we are winding down. It's been a fruitful discussion, a fruitful conversation in Science Unit here this afternoon. And yeah, we had a bit of technical glitches early on, but everything was smooth for the panel discussion. So, you know, I tell you, once you have women and girls at the head of science and technology and STEM, generally things will work out. Not too much of it because we need this energy, right? All right, so it's been a wonderful afternoon. And at this time, it's the moment that we've all been waiting for. Giveaways! All right, so I know we all love giveaways. I love giveaways. I can't give giveaways unfortunately. But some of our lucky persons joining in virtual, and you can see the winner of giveaways here this afternoon. And I'm going to invite Technical Information Officer here at the SRC, Ms. Gabriel McLeod, to join the chat. And have the questions been issued yet? Yes? So the questions have been posted in the chat. So they will alert me and let me know who are the lucky winners, and I will be announcing that now. But for those, let me just quickly let you know what the questions that were asked. So one of the questions was, what was the theme of the last conversation in science series, and when was it held? So you must obviously have been abreast of the SRC's conversation in science series, or probably just what people research, I'm not sure. And then one of the other questions is, name one sponsor for the conversation in science series events. And the third question was, but actually 4 questions. There's 4 giveaways we're giving here this afternoon, right? Okay, what are some of the things we're giving away, by the way? Are we giving away a prize on the Branston's spaceship to the moon or something like that? Because science here, I don't know. Or are we getting that driving Elon Musk Tesla? I have no idea. So let's see what are the 2 prizes going to be. The other question was the next gen girl science program targeted young ladies of which age group, right? And the 4th and final question was, the Honorable Minister Favour Williams became the first female Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, in which year? And of course, we heard from her earlier, speaking on the importance of having women and girls in science. So the representatives here from the SRC, do you have the answers ready so I can announce them? Do you have the winners ready? So while we're sorting out who are the winners here, we just want to thank everyone for joining the discussion. We don't want it to just be, a nice little conversation, and that's the end of it. We are encouraging you to take the knowledge that you have learned today and to take it forward and to implement it in your daily lives and whatever you are doing. So whether you're a high schooler, you're a university, you're a working professional, whatever it is, the importance is that we have a contribution to make as girls and as women, and particularly in science. I remember, I'm not sure who it was earlier, I think it was Dr. Burrows or was it Dr. Junior, but they said representation matters. And it indeed matters, because we have to break glass ceilings and we have legs to build and trails to blaze. So it's dependent upon us to make our mark in this world, and obviously in the field of science. All right, so I'm about to get the name of the winners now. Right? I'm about to get the names of the winners and also the prizes being given. All right, so what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to have the person who is doing the vote of thanks move the vote of thanks, and then we will announce the winners to wrap things up. All right, that sounds good. So at this time, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Harry Valencia, and she's a student of the Immaculate Conception High School and senior member of their STEM club, and she serves as executive of SSC and regional executive. I hope I'm pronouncing your name. If I didn't, please forgive me when you come on and transparency, but I have Harry Valencia. Let's make her welcome as we move the votes of thanks and then get ready to find out who the winners of our giveaways are.
She's on start in our video.
Ready? Harry? Is she available?
Sorry, I was having some difficulties.
Hold on, let them just adjust the audio so I can hear you. Pretty girl. Oh, she's so cute.
Sorry. Yes, so I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm here now. So good afternoon to all. It is indeed my pleasure to be here today. A special thank you to our guest speaker, Honorable Favour Williams, our Minister of Education, for taking the time out of her busy schedule to come to this meeting and share a few words. This discussion was very informative and interesting, especially when it was shared the story of women in STEM and how they've become successful. Your speech motivated me even more to continue to show my passion towards STEM. It would not have been would have not been the same without your presence today. I would also like to thank Honorable Darrell Vaz, our Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, for giving the opening remarks and sharing your thoughts about the women in STEM and motivating the next generation to pursue their dreams in this STEM field. I would also like to thank our host, Tamara McHale, for always keeping us engaged in this discussion. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone who came out and spoke, as well as the people who attended. Lastly, before I go, I would like to leave you with a quote by Edward Teller, which says, "The science today will be the technology of tomorrow." So all the ladies who want to pursue their career in STEM, I implore you to work hard towards your dreams, and I'm sure success will follow behind you. Once again, thank you for coming out here and sharing with us. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Both of that, so a beautiful word of encouragement here at the end. Congratulations. Indeed, the science of today will become the technology of tomorrow. That is a sound and fitting word in terms of obviously STEM, but just mindful. Let's look at the social media options of today. Look at all of the technologies around us. I was literally reading just earlier this week about a helicopter that is being flown without a pilot in it. Just like when you have a self-driving car, you now have a self-driving or self-flying helicopter. So trust me, STEM is critical in all areas of life. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors. No doubt, I know you will have continued success. So it's that time. It's our last item on the agenda, and we're going to have the giveaways.
Bye.
So in the chat, you can also share.
So that Jackie.
One person's monitor, but you can share.
Jackie.
One.
Come here.
Here this afternoon. Just one thing. Each of you.
Should I
type in the
indicate?
chat one thing that you learned here this
Can you send out the letters?
One thing to have the conversation, but if you learn anything that you just share in the chat one thing that you learned. And so others can, read your comments, and maybe they join the link, they can also learn that critical information. So it's high, it was, still is, we're wrapping up, but let's start this conversation.
Should I sign them?
Again, just want to thank all of those persons who joined us here today on the show. Watson, whenever there is
okay.
And all of our panelists, Dr. Ali Jean Barwood, Mrs. Felicity Graham, Mrs. Shirley Basso, and Dr. Jason. And they have.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much. All right. So again, it is the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, and it's time for the winners. All right. So the first question. Hold on. Let me see. Question 3, question 1. Okay. So the winner for question 1, and I'm just looking back at my my phone to ensure I have that question. So question 1 was, what was the theme of the last conversation in science series, and where was it held, right? Right? And the answer was the Ministry of Science, Men of Science leading the way. Oh, Men of Science leading the way. And when was it held? I'm not seeing that part. Okay. So it was Men of Science leading the way. All right. So congratulations to Arian Henry. Arian Henry is the winner for question 1. Congratulations. Let's give him a big round of virtual applause. All right. And the winner for question 2, that goes to, I'm not seeing the winner, but I'm seeing question 3 and question 2. Who won question 2? No one? Oh, nobody won question 2? Who Hold on, question 2 didn't hard. Oh yeah, they want sponsor of the conversation science series. Oh, sorry that nobody got it, but can you tell us what one of the sponsors we can share with them so they know? Yes. Yes. So of course we have the Ministry of Technology, Energy and Science here with us as well. So they are one of the partners here. All right. The winner for question 3 goes to Jadine. And that question was the Next Gen Girls Science Program targeting young ladies of which age group, right? And that's what? 11 to 14. Congratulations, Jadine. And then the winner for question 4, same person, Ariana Henry as well. So Ariana, you are definitely, is it Ariana or Ariana? Ariana Henry, you're definitely informed. And it was the Honorable Minister Favour Williams became the first female Minister of Science, Energy and Technology in which year? And we did say it earlier, that was in the year 2019. So congratulations to all our winners. We hope you will enjoy your prizes. And we thank you so much for making it the Scientific Research Council Conversation in Science Series, the 5th staging. This year's theme, or this time around, I should say, was the legacy of women in STEM fueling next gen girls. And of course, today being International Day of Women and Girls in Science, we applaud all of you girls and all of you women who are trailblazers in science and technology, STEM, engineering, and math, making a difference locally and internationally. We are truly happy that you attended, and keep it locked to the SRC social media pages, whether on Instagram, YouTube, the website, you name it, or when we're having our next conversation in science series. I've been your host, Tamara McKay. Thank you so much for being engaging, and we do apologize again for the issues which we had earlier, but we ended up having a very wholesome and fruitful discussion. So until next time, blessings, and make sure science and technology are guiding you today so you can become the future leaders of tomorrow. Applies on the Branston's spaceship to the moon or something like that, because it's science here. I don't know. Or I'm guessing that I have no idea. So other question was the next gen girl science
Nothing feels complete.
Right? And the fourth
I stand up and I'm searching for the better part of me.
Of course, heard from her earlier.
I hang my head from sorrow, seven humanity. I wear it on my shoulders, gotta find strength in me. Cause I am Superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. Cause you were one of my mirrors, it's your point of face when it's on my chest. Oh, yes, Superwoman. For all the mothers fighting for better days to come, and I'm a women sitting there trying to come home before the sun. And all my sisters coming together, say yes I will, yes I can, cause I am Superwoman. Yes I am, yes I am. Cause even when I'm on this, I still put a vest when it's on my chest. Oh yes, Superwoman. When I'm breaking down and I can't be found, cause I start to get weak. 'Cause no one knows me underneath these clothes. I can fly. We can fly. 'Cause I am Superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. 'Cause you're one of my mans, still upon a face when it's so much as always.
Sorry, I was having some difficulties.
Cause I am Superwoman. Yes, I am.
Sorry.
Yes, she is.
Yes, so I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm here now. So good afternoon to all. It is indeed my pleasure to be here today. A special thank you to our guest speaker,